What's up guys, welcome along and thanks for joining us today. You're joining here for round 5 of the Bennetts British Superbike Championship in the NP Racing Garage alongside Blaze the Blizzard Baker, 2 times South African Supersport champion 2018 and 19, and Ducati Tri Options race winner and podium finisher, and he is aboard the Honda Fireblade Superbike this year for his debut season. So Blaze, first of all, thank you very much for taking time out of your weekend.
Thank you for having me.
Come and join us.
Great pleasure.
Cool name. What a name, Blaze. Surely you was always going to be a motorcycle racer with a name like Blaze.
Yeah.
So if you would take us right back to how you started and how you got into this and your upbringing, where you're from, just give us a bit of a backstory to how you got into the motorcycling world.
So obviously, first of all, my name's Blaze Baker. I'm 27 years old, born and raised in South Africa. A little town called, well, it's not so little, but a town called Durban on the east coast. I have been riding bikes since 3 years old. I think my first bike was a Pee-wee 50. I remember like yesterday, my buddy said that Santa was on the phone, and back then it was still one of them old landline phones. Mm-hmm. So I ran through to our little office and I answered, and to my distraught, there was no Santa, obviously. So I was, I turned around as in absolute tears as Santa hung up on me. And as I turned around, hidden behind the door was the bike. And I remember it was like 5 a.m. in the morning, and before I'd even opened my other presents, I was already ripping around the garden, riding around the pool. At the time, it was a rock pool, and there was a few like rocky jumps in that, and I was already jumping it on the first day. And then from there onwards, I had a bit of time off of riding. I mean, I grew out of that, as you will, growing up in that, and then I think I was about 6 years old. I got a pit bike. Mm-hmm. I raced. I didn't race. I just rode quite a bit of pit bikes in that. And I was, at the time, my old man was working for the factory Yamaha team in the national championship in South Africa. Okay. And Cape Town's obviously the other end of the country for us there, and it's on the west coast. So it was school holidays, and my old man said, "I don't want to come watch the racing with him, spend the weekend with the team and all of that." And I said, "Yeah, let's go." And I knew the other guy there. It was James Egan and Mike Egan, his father. James was racing 600s back then, and I remember he had a fairly decent weekend, and it was the Saturday after the racing had all finished, and we had a restaurant. Uncle Mark had a few beers, and I remember I was so small. He told me to come sit on his lap. I came and sat on his lap. He was having his beers there, and he said, "Oh, Blaze, do you want to ride?" And I just, out of the corner of my ear, I heard my old man say to Mark, he's like, "No, keep quiet, Mark, keep quiet." And I thought instantly, I was like, yes, we're gonna go riding. And then that very next weekend, this was in, I think, September, and that very next weekend, I went to a little go-kart track in Pietermaritzburg called Mason's Mill. Mm-hmm. And since that day, I haven't looked back. I mean, I remember my first outing on the bike. James obviously had way more experience than what I had. It was my first time ever on a little race bike, a TZR 50. And I remember James coming past me down the main straight, and he tapped his seat. He said, "Follow him." I thought, "Nah, I'm going to dive him on the brakes here."
Straight up the inside.
I went straight up the inside and then straight into the tyre wall, rolled over. I looked up, I had a little bit of a tear in my eye. I thought, "No, I'm fine. It's not that bad." Got back, I said to my dad, "Dad, can you fix the bike and can I ride more?" And he said, "Do you want to?" I was like, "Yeah, definitely. Let's get the bike fixed. Go back out."
From that moment, he knew he was going to be poor for the rest of his life. So, your dad, you say your dad was in the racing world anyway. Yeah. Did he race, or was he spannering, or what was his involvement with it?
My old man he's never raced as per such, but he's a very, very, very good builder. To my knowledge, even right now, he's, for me, the best person to build a bike. Obviously, I'm being, not just being biased or anything, but the perfection that goes in, every little bit of detail, everything is perfectly prepared, and no corners uncut.
Yeah,
you know? So yeah, he's been around race bikes, I think, going back into the 80s, building race bikes, working on race bikes. He's worked with multiple South African champions.
So that really was your segue into it from the young age.
Yeah, basically.
Have you got siblings? You got brothers and sisters?
Yeah, so I've got quite a big family. I've got 2 brothers, both of them of which are in America, and then 2 sisters, both of which live here in the UK.
Okay, and are any of them into the bike racing world as well, in any way or not?
So obviously my sister's not really into bikes.
It's a difficult sport to get into for women, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then my brothers, they're a little bit older than me, but they sort of didn't really go down that road, if you know what I mean. Just they had a different plan set out and what they wanted to do, but
so have you ever
they didn't have the opportunity either, you know.
Right.
So I do believe though both of them were really good on a bike. It's just I just haven't had the opportunity. We've done some laps and go-karts together.
So does that make you the favourite son with your dad then? So your dad got you into it basically at a young age, and then he was spannering for you, and you come up through the ranks out in South Africa, I take it. You didn't come over to the UK when you was younger, and then you went all the way through the ranks, taking the knocks and the bangs and the club race and everything up until probably your major success of 2018, 2019, becoming a South African Supersport champion 2 years in a row on the bounce.
Yep.
So was that with your dad building the bikes? Was it a dad and lad sort of run thing?
So up until all the regional racing, which is you could call it like club racing almost, that was obviously from 2008 all the way up to, I think that I started nationals in 2013 or 14. So up until then it was the club racing, and he did everything, all my bikes. Then there was a season I did RS 125s, the GP 125s I rode for Honda in South Africa, and they prepared the bike and that. But even so, my dad was always there. He was doing tyres, checking the engines, and he was always part of the team dynamic and that. I would say probably my first real opportunity with a team was in 2015, a team called Uncle Andy Racing. Honestly, one of the best years racing in my life. It was on the Suzuki 600 back then, and we had 2 very successful seasons on the Supersport bike, back-to-back seconds. So I think the second year we lost the championship out by 2 or 3 points. So it was a tough pill to swallow, but you know, these things happen.
Bounce
it's racing, and
so
the next year we made the switch over to Yamaha, and that was with the factory team in South Africa. And honestly, it was that season from start to end was incredible. We just
gelled with it straight away.
Get to the circuit. First test we did, it was just unbelievable.
Almost easy.
It felt like it. Yeah. I mean, there's some fast boys out in South Africa, and it just. When I mean everything worked, we just get to a track in an FP1, we're there on lap record pace already, and
riding the wave.
Yeah, exactly. That I think we wrapped that championship up with a round or 2 to go as well, and then unfortunately at the end of that season the team closed down. So from there we were kind of like, what do we do from here? And I thought, okay, cool. My dad can always build me a bike. I know he'll be able to make me a competitive, strong bike. I thought I'd just, drop an email to Yamaha and see if we can, run the #1 plate on a bike from them as a privateer. And they agreed.
Nice.
And I remember it was quite late we start pretty early in the season there in South Africa. I think it's like February the seasons begin.
Yeah.
And it was midway through January, and we had only agreed on this with Yamaha, and we had like 2-3 weeks to get the bike ready, and we did it. We got it all together. I remember, luckily, the headquarters for Yamaha is literally in my hometown. It was honestly about 5 kilometers from where I lived. And we picked the bike up, brand new bike out the crate, stripped her down, and put the race kits on, and
away you went.
Away we went.
Does that tie back into why the first bike was a Pee-wee 50 then? Because the Yamaha dealer was just up the road?
Yeah, I think
they've always had a long heritage with Yamahas. Yeah.
I've always had a long heritage with Yamaha. My dad's good friends have also, and I got on really well with all the guys there in South Africa through Yamaha. It was 2 really, really good seasons of my life. I really did enjoy it there with them, and I would have loved to have tried the R1 when I'd first stepped up to the superbikes there, but we just had different opportunities with Kawasaki, and my dad, funnily enough, is more Kawasaki through and through fan.
Right.
So he's actually got a tattoo on the inside of his leg. So yeah, we got a good deal with Kawasaki, and yeah, it was also a good 2020. I think was the first, as COVID hit, was the first time on a superbike in South Africa, and it was tough. I was young then, and I crashed a bit, banged myself up, and
so is it in South Africa? Is it very similar to the UK, where the Support Championship follows the superbikes around to the circuits, and they race on the same tracks?
Yes.
So all the circuits you'd raced on the Supersport bike, you knew them already, but it was stepping up to the bigger bike.
There's not really that many. We did like a couple of the circuits 2-3 times a season, the same circuit.
So it's not a smaller championship, but there's less venues that you visit more often through the season.
Exactly.
And how many races is the whole season made up of?
I think it's a bit different now. I mean, I haven't obviously been over here a while now. I don't really know what has been going on with the racing back there, but back when I was doing it, there were about 8 rounds, maybe 9 on a busy year. 2 races a weekend, and I remember back in 2015, the first full bash at Supersport on Kawasaki, just with me and my old man. We used to go out and do qualifying on SE1, race 1 and race 2 on that same tire.
Right.
And I remember at the end of race 2, it was just spinning up everywhere, destroyed. But it was the same for everyone. It was people had an advantage or anything, so everyone was in the same boat.
Everyone was in the same boat, and it's a lot like racing on slicks in the rain, isn't it? When you hear the dads can't afford to put wet tyres in it, it's the same sort of thing. It teaches you that skill of riding on used tyres.
Yeah, exactly.
So from the Supersport, you went into the Superbike on the thousands in 2020, which you said is a COVID year. Yeah,
so that was cut very short.
That was cut short. You didn't manage to complete the whole season.
No, we did, I think, 4 or 5 races on the Superbike.
And then how did that open the opportunity to come over to the UK? When did you end up coming over here to race bikes?
So I had a friend already over here, Brent Harron, and I just had messaged him. I said, if there's any rides going within the paddock, and he had met a guy by the name of Alan Mills, and he had spoken to me spoke to me directly through Facebook. He had done the beginning of the season with another guy on the team, Luke Gilby, and it was his first year within the paddock. I could be wrong, but I'm almost certain it was. And I came over. Unfortunately, we didn't get to do the full season. Was having a lot of visa issues. It was obviously such late notice.
So at that point you were traveling backwards and forwards?
No, not even. I hadn't even been approved to come into the country here. So I think it was World Superbikes Donington. I arrived 2 weeks before that. And straight to Donington. We had half a track day at Donington on the bike, and then straight into the racing. And it was a successful debut here in the UK, getting double win, and then next on was here at Brands 2 weeks later. We got a second and a win. And then obviously it was always going to be a bit more tough going into places like Cadwell and Snet and that.
It takes a lot of local knowledge.
Yeah, and then also it was also my first time really experiencing British weather. So and also at the time you come from there, you're thinking you're invincible, and then you're like a small fish in a big pond again. So it was a big wake up call for me.
Big baptism of fire.
Yeah. Even in the Ducati Tri Ops Cup, some fast boys in there. And, we did have a successful season. We went on to get I think about 8, 9, maybe even 10 podiums.
I think it was 7 podiums across the year, 3 wins, 2 at Donington, 1 here at Brands.
Yeah.
So you turned, just for the viewers at home, you turned up. Donington Park, like you said, was the first round.
Yeah.
Never sat on the bike, never raced the bike, jumped on it and did the double at Donington, and
everyone else was filming. It was some feeling that I was honestly...
Some weekend.
Yeah, it almost felt surreal to me, and naturally I thought to myself, it's going to be a good season. You're going to get wins and that.
Yeah.
But like I said, you're going to get to places like Cadwell and all the proper British circuit, and it's tough. But all it does is make you a better rider. And the weather, like nowadays, I used to be shitting myself for rain and that, but now it's like
chilled and used
rains
to it.
Rains here, we ride in the rain.
Yeah,
so it's
absolutely.
okay.
That's it's part of riding in the UK, isn't
it? A spare set of underwear in my kit bag so it's dry.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
So that was the 2022 season.
Yeah.
That you was riding the Tri Options. When did you actually move over to the UK to fully commit to racing over here then? How long have you been?
So that was then initially.
That was the start of the 2022 season.
Okay, no, let me rephrase that. I came over for about 5 months, 4 or 5 months, and I finished the season. I then went back home. My visa had obviously expired, and I renewed the visa. And I think it was in late December, I had come to an agreement for a Supersport ride, and I signed the deal then. And obviously, with all the drama and hassles that we had with visa, I made sure we were on it early, and I think I was already back in the UK in 23 in about February.
And so you've been in the UK much from then
basically onwards. I spent the whole year here.
Yeah. So what is your favourite British cuisine over in the UK? What's your go-to British meal?
Go-to British meal, wow. I want to say...
I presume in South Africa it's something like a bunny chow or something like that.
I do like a bunny chow, a good mean bunny chow. Straight from King Cutters. Yeah, it's been good there.
But you can't walk into a restaurant in the UK and get a bunny chow, can you? So.
No, I always ask about it, and nobody knows what I'm saying. So, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know. Obviously, you have your fish and chips and that, but it's not really one of my favorites. I hadn't been to a Wetherspoons until I went the other day with some of the team boys, and everyone told me it's like this, it's not the best place, and I was pretty blown away by it, to be honest with you. I was like, this is not bad. I had a burger there, a buffalo burger, but I don't know, I'd say, for me, I'm a breakfast guy. I like a good English breakfast, full English breakfast. You sit there and you're in like a food coma after brekkie.
Definitely.
So I'd say probably a full English.
But you've had no problems adapting to the UK lifestyle, other than the weather.
No, even so, the weather I got used to pretty quickly. I'd never seen snow before in my life before I'd come over here, so it was all very exciting.
Yeah, different culture, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I know. I'm used to it now. I'm acclimatized. So.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
So the 2022 Tri Options season come to an end, and obviously you've done really well, very successful, straight into it, race wins, podiums. What doors did that open for 2023? Where did that lead on to?
So I was at the point in time after that, Neil from NP Racing had seen what we had been doing, and he had offered me a test on his superbike at the end of the season. So I was blown away by that already. I was going to ride a superbike, full-blown superbike now for my first time here in the UK, and I couldn't decline that off. So we came here, 2 brands actually, and of course it was pissing it down with rain. So we spent basically the whole day just riding around in the rain. I did a lot of laps on the Kawasaki then, and it was really good. But I still, I hadn't done all the circuits around the UK, and I didn't feel I was ready for superbikes yet. So
how old was you at that point? That's quite a mature decision to make.
24 years old then.
Yeah, obviously you've been racing all that time though, so it's not a new thing. But that's quite a mature view to have of it at that age. Most people would have that opportunity, would just want to get on it and then potentially have a career suicide from it. But
and that's it. I mean, obviously these bikes here, no traction control. It's all in your wrist and that, and also you get this like the Cadwell Park, Alton Park. You really got to know what you're doing around there, and I think for sure I needed to get the circuits all under my belt and get it dialed on a smaller bike before I made the step up to the superbike. So at that end of the season, there was a few offers on the table for Supersport, and then I chose one and was on a Ducati. We had a very, very successful opening test, and an awesome debut in Supersport. I think we qualified 15th and we finished 8th and 7th in the feature race.
Yeah.
At Silverstone, also another circuit I'd never been to.
Yeah, big grid full of Supersport.
Yeah, so I was very confident going into that. And then Alton Park round 2. I was a bit, flustered. It's been a long time since I'd been back to Alton, nearly a year. And, I just let things get away from me a bit. I was a bit rattled from my position in FP1. And then, I wanted to get myself straight through to Q2. So we had new tyres on for FP2, and then I went out in the first lap. I rolled out the pits. It started raining. And I thought, it's mental rain. You just, push through and get one lap in quicker than what I did this morning. And my first flying lap went through turn 1, had the biggest high side I've ever had in my life, and ended up snapping my leg.
Not a good way to start the season, round 2 then.
No, it wasn't ideal, after such a positive start on the Supersport bike. And like I say, you really got to respect, no matter what bike it is, you got to respect the bike, but even the circuits and that.
Absolutely.
And I think that had changed the way I looked at a whole lot of things in my racing career. It was a big learning curve for me, breaking my leg. It taught
was that
me a
the
lot
biggest
of things.
accident up to that point in your career? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's what part of your leg did you actually break?
So I snapped my femur. Snapped it clean in half down the middle. When I had broken it, I had a lot of adrenaline going, so I ended up standing up.
Yeah.
And as I stood up, I turned around to go to the bike, and my foot stayed on the ground and my leg twisted. And then I remember just falling, and I just looked at my leg and I thought to myself, I'm never going to be able to walk again.
So it wasn't just a simple leg break tib fib, it was a proper
there's been
leg
some
break.
complications with it. I've had a lot of problems with my leg over the last 24 months or so.
Yeah.
But now I'd say we probably, fully fit again, and I've got the feeling back the nerve feelings back in my shin. They're all back now. My
It doesn't
legs,
hinder you riding the bike?
No, not at all. Okay. Not at all. I mean, I could have come back sooner than that, but my leg was a lot smaller. I'd lost a lot of muscle mass in there, and I really wanted to just, get back where I was. Before being able to compete at the higher level.
Don't come back
again.
too early. So that wrote off obviously the remainder of the 2023 season and most of the 24, I presume. It was...
Yeah, most of the 24. At that point, I was even contemplating retiring midway through 24, and then I wasn't mentally in a dark place. I came across Dave from Mad Racing. And he had offered me an opportunity to do a wild card on his bike in the stock 1000.
Yeah.
Rang me up about 2 weeks before Brands, and he said, "You want to ride?" And I said, "Oh, yes, please. I'd love to." Obviously, I hadn't been doing any training or anything, so I was, nowhere near where I meant to be physically. But I did it. I jumped straight back in, and I was in the deep end in the stock 1000s. Riding these circuits now on a 1000cc. It was really good, positive. Both my wild cards I did with him were very positive. We did Silverstone shortly after. It was a good ride there. I think my second time I was fighting within the points and then blew the engine across the finish line. So it was very, very positive on then, and
Let's open some doors for 2025.
Yeah, exactly.
Which brings us to the present day. Here we are.
My baby girl.
Is it round 5, Brands Hatch 2025 British Superbikes? So this is your first full season in British Superbikes. Obviously, like we've said, we've built up, we've learnt the tracks. You've had to go on 1000cc stockers and other bikes, but first real crack at it for the whole season. You feel like you're in the fittest form of your life.
Yeah.
And we've now had the testing at the start of the year, and we've visited a few different tracks. Come back to a place that you've been very successful at in the past, as we've mentioned. How are you finding the year so far?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's completely different to riding any other bike, first of all.
Bigger smile?
Yeah, definitely. And it's, it's all in your wrist there, opening it up.
Yeah, no traction control, no anti-wheelie. It's literally
anti-wheelie,
the electronics are to map the engine and an engine brake map, but there's no anti-wheelie, no traction control.
No anti-wheelie, no traction control. So she likes to lift. She likes to lift.
Rodeo ball.
Likes to wheel spin a lot. But I'd say overall, I'm over the moon. I'm really happy with how the start's been. We haven't stuck our necks out. There's been a couple.
Away.
Yeah, we taking it step by step. You're not just taking leaps.
Yeah.
And I think for me mentally, it's been a good thing as well. And seeing the progression to where we are now, right now tonight, it's been a really, I'd say, a really positive, good start to the 2025 season.
Yeah, it's been building on it nicely,
Yeah.
building up. And what are your goals, your personal goals for the season? Obviously, you want to get to grips with the bike, ride this bike around all the circuits that you haven't been around before. It's no good sitting here and really saying, I want to finish top 15 or this or that, because you can't predict that in racing. There's so many unforeseens. But personally, what would you really like to get out of this year?
Honestly speaking, with us sitting here now, 5th round, I don't see points very far off. I think we can definitely get points. It's within that reachable range, and I think there's just a small little step, both within myself, I think, certain aspects of the weekend where I can, iron out in myself, more and more comfortable on the bike. I think, we'll find that half a second, maybe even a second once we put a new tyre in, and I think that'll just give us that bridge to, the points group. The end of the races are usually really strong for me, so it's just, I think, sort of, finding that quality time to put myself in a good position to get a latch on and catch a toe from the boys. Yeah. And that's it. It's just the more and more experience I'm gaining is the easier I'm finding it.
Yeah, the more relaxed you're becoming with it, moving around and feeling the bike and what it's doing.
Exactly. I feel like she's my bike now.
Yeah.
You're not just getting on the bike. She's like my
well, you look at anybody up and down this pit lane in this paddock, it takes years of riding these bikes and these circuits to start becoming seriously competitive on it. So, I mean, unless you're Marc Marquez, you're not going to come in here and just jump on it and start getting on the podium. So I think you've done a fantastic job for the first year. What has been your favourite circuit that you've ridden so far on it?
Oh, mate. So far, I did enjoy Knockhill. Not my favourite. I did enjoy it though, but not my favourite. After today, I'm going to say Brands, more so than Nonnington, I really enjoyed riding my girl today. It was
Does that help with the lap time?
It may not, but I was having a lot of fun out there today and I felt really comfortable on the bike. So.
Oh, good. So you're positive for the rest of the season. Just build that confidence, keep the momentum going, clean weekends, and eventually, hopefully, it'll all just come right. Don't try and force it too much.
Yeah, exactly. Let it just be, comfortable.
Yeah.
Like I said before, you really got to respect the bikes because they're 230 odd horsepower and
they can bite.
So just respect the bike, build into it and, do it where it matters because we're not in a team where it's, unlimited budget and we can go and destroy a bike in FP1 or anything like that. We really need to, think realistically think our weekend through and play our cards where they need to be played.
Yeah. Again, that's a very mature view of how to look at the season. A lot of people would just try and go out and prove how fast they are straight away. Everybody in the paddock knows you're fast. They've seen you in South Africa. They've said they don't give away these championships. They don't give away Ducati Tri Options race wins. So they know you've got the speed anyway. So yeah, very mature look. The 51 we're sporting here, has this always been your race number? Where did this come from?
To be honest, no. So I had realised now in BSB you can have whatever number you wanted. So I've always had that like sort of fonted 5 and 1, but it's just been plain black. Now, obviously in the BSB, I wanted to incorporate something from home there with me. So we've decided to go with the South African flag within the 51.
Yeah, it's very smart, isn't it?
Get it to stand out a bit on the fluorescent yellow. It's more cool. Like I look at it and it just makes it more like a piece of me and home. Yeah, it gives me the reminder of home and where it all began really.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're aiming. Well, you personally say we're getting towards the points the end of the season, but having come from having so much success, breaking your leg, being off for 18 months, having to go back for a recovery, COVID, not living at home, moving away from South Africa. I mean, when was the Tri Options? 2022. Yeah. So that's now 3 years since your last podium race win. How do you keep yourself motivated to just keep pushing on all the time? Is it?
To be honest with you, it is a good question. It is tough. Coming from winning and not being on the podium for years now, it's tough. But the thing is, I'll rather now be in a big pond with all the big fish. And
you're testing yourself in the hardest domestic championship.
If I want to better myself as a rider, that's the only way forward. Mm-hmm. There's no point in me, especially at this point now in my career, to just sit around and racing smaller class, just
collecting trophies for no reason.
Trophies and that. Look, I may do it later on in my future just because I enjoy riding a bike. But at this point in my time, I wanted to prove to myself that I can come back from that injury and I can be faster and fitter than I've ever been. Yeah. So yeah, that's currently where we're at this point. And I think from a mental side of thing, the progression that we've been seeing race by race has been really good. The fitness, race by race, I've been feeling stronger and stronger each time.
It's accumulation at this point in your life, isn't it? Of all that experience that you've gained up to this point, to being able to use that better effect moving forward to try and build the results, isn't it? And that's, yeah.
Exactly. And there's times, I'd be like in a race and I'd think to myself, I'm never going to make the end of the race, and then all of a sudden you look again and there's 5 laps to go and you're like, okay, well, I've been pumping these times out constantly, and you just you've locked in and just push through. And it was tough in the beginning. I hadn't done a race of that length on a bike ever, so it was tough. But I mean, now it's just normal.
Just getting used to it.
Yeah, it's good.
So Blaze, we won't take up any more of your time because it's a busy weekend and you've already taken time out of your schedule. Just a few quick fire questions to finish this off. Try and answer them as quickly as you can.
Alrighty.
If you weren't a motorcycle racer, what would you be?
Golfer.
Golfer? Okay.
No, I'm shit at golf. Golfer.
Golfer. Okay. Spirit or beer?
Beer.
Beer. A MotoGP race win or a World Superbike Championship?
MotoGP race win.
Okay. Who is your racing hero / icon?
Valentino
Rossi. What's the best piece of advice that you would give to a 10-year-old Blaze Baker?
Never give up.
Never give up. It's a good bit of advice.
Never give up.
2-stroke or 4-stroke?
2-stroke.
And you're at the pearly gates and you've got one quali lap on one bike at one track. What are you going to pick?
Got me stalling here. I don't know. I'd probably...
Whilst you wait and think about that for 1 second, I'll let you have a little think. I just want to say, guys, a shameless plug here. Through the month of August in 2025, I am doing a bit of a sponsored bike ride. It's not a massive distance, but for a cyclist, but for myself who likes pork pies and pints, it's quite a challenge for me. And all the money is going to Children's Cancer Trust. And obviously, as motorcycle fans, we all know what troubles Sylvain Guintoli's son, Luke, is going through. So please, I'll put a link down in the description. Even if it's just £1 that you can donate, anything is going to help. So yeah, shameless plug, but please help where you can. That's given you some time to think about it, Blaze. So
Suter 500.
Yep.
Yeah, a Suter 500.
What track?
Mugello
on a Suter 500.
Mugello on a Suter 500.
Okay, sounds good. One final question then. Yeah. What is the state of your thing?
She is sealed. Good night.
Thanks very much, Blaze. Cheers.
Thank you. It was awesome.